E quem está de volta ao Ultimate é Tito Ortiz. O ex-campeão meio pesado do UFC concedeu uma bombástica entrevista ao Sensei SporTV antes de ser readmitido pela organização do evento e abriu o jogo sobre a real entre ele e Dana White. Com vocês, a segunda parte da entrevista com o bad boy de Huntington Beach, doa a quem doer. Let's rewind a little bit back to the UFC when you were one of the most popular fighters of the event.
I think I still am.
Yes,
I
agree with you, and that's the point. Yeah. Do you realize how you helped with the development of the sport, to the pay-per-view buys, and to spread the curiosity and the popularity of the sport to the whole world, because you had your own style, had the bad boy thing and the ferocious style, and at that moment, that kind of attitude helped a lot with the business.
Well, you know, it really came down to who did I watch when I was a kid? What was the fighters I watched when I was a kid? You know, I watched a fight Muhammad Ali. You know, I watched professional wrestling, watched Hulk Hogan, and it was all about promotion. You had to promote. If you could fight good, that's you know, God gives us the gifts to fight very well. And but did you have the personality, the charisma to carry behind a camera and to make the fans who watch interested of what you're saying? And I understood that, and I did the extra work. You know, I worked harder in the gym. You know, when I was in college, I did speech classes so I could speak well, and it was really about selling a brand, making a brand, and that's what I've done. I've done very well. You know, I've had the light heavyweight title for UFC for 6 consecutive times, longer than anybody's ever done. I think Anderson Silva is almost about ready to beat it. He's one of the best guys, 185 pounds, but you know, I was one of the best guys at 205, and it wasn't just the charisma and the personality that came out, it was the good fighter that I really was. And I try to prove myself the same way. You know, I did a lot of charity work. I still do a lot of charity work working with kids. I was on The Apprentice here in the United States. Of course, they had The Apprentice. I was the Celebrity Apprentice. I was on there, and it was for charity. It was just extra stuff I've given. You know, I'm the Muhammad Ali of mixed martial arts. I'm the guy who could speak well and who promotes and tries to make it better for the fighters of the future, you know. And all the fighters, I mean, Vanderlei Silva, Vitor Belfort, Babalu, I mean, all these guys who make great money now as fighters here in the United States, they can thank me. Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, these guys could thank me because I was the guy fighting for that. And I was the guy getting all the bad publicity from Dana White kind of trying to smash me. And I'm smart, I'm a good businessman, I understand the stuff around me. I really want to fight well when it's competing time, but make sure that I can talk better when it's over after I beat the guy. But it's a respect value, but it's an entertainment value, and people got to understand that yeah, the entertainment stuff and the stuff I talked before, it's just to get into the guy's head. I want to get into his head so when it's fight time, he's thinking about the bad things I said and not thinking about what he needs to do to beat me. And I've gotten guys' head by doing that over and over again, that I continue to do it. And I don't know, it's psychology, I guess you could say. But when it's fight time, it's real, and there's no fake punches. There's nothing fake about anything we do. It's reality fighting, and I think that's why it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world. And I'm still here. I just see a bright future for myself, just because I'm going to make it better for myself, and I'm going to make it better for the fighters of the future.
As you said, you are a very well-spoken guy, but you are an unbelievable and an awesome fighter. But what's the deal between you and Dana White? What really happened between you two guys?
Well, yeah, what it really came down to was they were making a lot of money on my name, and I was saying, where's my kickback? What do I get a big percentage, because I'm killing myself for you guys? And yeah, they were paying me okay money, but when they were making $40 to $50 million per fight, and I'm making maybe, you know, 800,000 at the most, where's my big chunk? And people at home, I can imagine saying, God, $800,000, that's amazing money. But when a company's making that much on you for fighting, why shouldn't you get a big percentage? You watch here like Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions, they do with Sugar Shane Mosley, God, who else is there? Bernard Hopkins. All these guys are making, you know, $10, $15 million purses for fighting. We fight. I'm killing myself for 9 weeks of training, of literally trying to kill myself. When it's fight time, I know I'm ready. Physically, mentally, I know I'm ready for my fight. So, you know, when it comes down to the fight in general, I think we should get a big piece of it. And Dana didn't want that to happen. He tried to shut me up. He tried to keep me quiet, and I spoke my mind, and I still speak my mind. And it's just a factor now that I see it as, you know, it's all about him trying to hold down fighters. And I was a fighter to step up and say something, and he really took it as trying to shut me up.
Okay, now with your explanation, I can understand that you just can help yourself to avoid a fighter. But don't you think it's a kind of self-destruction behavior? Hate the boss, and worst, brought that hate on to the public?
Well, the public, I mean, everybody loves the way I fight. Everybody wants to see the way I fight. Maybe they don't like me because I try to stand up for myself. I don't have a manager. I don't have no one telling me what to do or how to do it, because I know how to do it. I have an attorney to look over all the contracts, and I know what I want. You know, I know what I've worked for. I know how much it means to me. But who else is going to step up and say something? No one will. No one will step up and say nothing. Everybody will be in a monopoly that they are making, and they're afraid to say something, because once they say something, they're not going to be promoted. They're going to be shut down. They're not going to be able to fight anywhere. And they've seen that time and time before. I mean, I think Vitor Belfort went through things like that, and you know, Anderson Silva will go through things like that, and Machida will go through things like that when they want more money, and they realize that, you know, I'm fighting for, you know, a couple $100,000. Why ain't making a couple $1 million? What's the difference between I'm doing it and boxers? And they'll understand it. Hopefully they will before they're too old, that they understand, and maybe we all can stick together and, you know, fight for, you know, against the companies. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, that's why I pay attention to Strikeforce, because they're like, we'll cut you in on it. We'll cut you in on a big piece, and you promote. You help us promote as much as possible, and you get a return on it. I was like, super. I'll take a pay cut for that. I'll make less money for them and get the back end of it than I would for the UFC of making more in the front and not.
I hated this guy to the point where I can honestly say I don't think I've ever hated anybody worse than I hated Tito.
But you know, being yourself and fight for your rights, you could be dismissed by Dana White.
I'm glad I'm already dismissed by him. I'm fine with it. That's why I'm going to CBS and Showtime. I'm gonna be back. You know, Kimbo Slice was on Showtime and CBS, and he's one of the biggest guys in the United States. He's not a fighter. He has no talent, no technique, no jiu-jitsu. No, I mean, nothing. I mean, he has hard punches, but once you get past that, he's very easy to beat. But everyone thinks of him as a superstar, as one of the toughest guys in the world. People from just walking up to me and going, "Do you think you could beat Kimbo Slice?" I was like, "You gotta compare him to me? Like, you guys don't even know anything." That's how United States is. They want to promote a big, scary-looking guy as the most dangerous man in the world when he's not. And when I get that same opportunity on CBS and Showtime, I'll have the technique, I'll have everything, fighting style. I've been a champion, and I think that's what United States people want to watch, and of course in Brazil and the rest of the world.
One of the most memorable matches of all time was your battle against Frank Sharrock at UFC 22. Give us your thought about this unforgettable moment.
Well, you know, I really think it was the beginning of my career. I was a young kid. I mean, I was just turned 22. Yep, just turned 22. I was a young kid in a grown man's game. I mean, I only had 3 fights under my belt. I just started learning jiu-jitsu. I just started learning kickboxing. I had a wrestling background, but it was a tough fight. You know, it was just one of those things that he was a seasoned fighter already, and I wasn't. I was a young kid. I almost got him, but in the 4th round, like about 15 seconds left, he caught me in the guillotine. I got out of it. Then he hit me on top of the head and then hit me in the back of the head a few times, and I didn't know where I was. And at that time, when I was with my girlfriend, I told her if I ever had a chance that I didn't know where I was, and I would tap. Because I've always watched boxers, you know, punch and get knocked out. Some of them get killed, and some can't speak well after, and it scared me, and I didn't want that happening to me. So, you know, I tapped, and I go, I'll fight another day. But then it taught me you need to train like a champion. You have to do the 4 miles of running a day, lift weights 6 days a week, do jiu-jitsu 7 days a week, wrestle 7 days a week, box 7 days a week, and take it as a real sport. You have to take it as a champion. And after I lost to him was when I fought Vanderlei Silva for the vacant belt, and I beat him in a 5-round decision, and he gave a great fight. He's one of the toughest guys in the world, and you know, I was the light heavyweight champion of the world, and I just think it was, I worked harder. Like I say, I worked 7 days a week because I always thought if someone's taking a day off, or if I took a day off,